Something is happening at the dollar store right now that most people are not paying attention to. And I'm not talking about the obvious stuff. I'm not talking about the prices going up a little, or the shelves looking a little thin on a Tuesday morning. I'm talking about something deeper, something that's been building for months and is about to become very visible by the time summer hits. I've spent the last few weeks doing what I always do, walking the aisles, checking the unit prices, talking to people who work in distribution, reading the reports that most shoppers never see. And what I found stopped me cold. There are 8 specific items sitting in dollar stores right now, things you probably buy every single week, that are facing serious pressure. Price pressure, supply pressure, reformulation pressure, and some of them are going to look very different by summer, or not be there at all. I'm going to walk you through all 8 of them today. I'll tell you what I bought, what I spent, why I bought it, and how to store it. I want you to walk away from this video feeling prepared. Not panicked, prepared. Now before we get into it, I want to give you a quick heads up. Number 6 on this list genuinely stunned me. I've been doing this for a long time. I thought I'd seen everything. I had not. So stay with me through this entire list, because number 6 is the one you are going to want to hear most. And if you are new here, this is what we do on this channel. We watch the shelves so you don't have to get caught off guard. Hit subscribe right now so you don't miss the next one. We put these out regularly, and the people who are subscribed are always a step ahead. Let's get into it. Product number 1, canned beans. This one might not sound alarming, but give me 60 seconds and I think you'll feel differently. Canned beans have been a dollar store staple for years. Black beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, chickpeas. You walk in, you grab a few cans, you spend almost nothing. That's been the deal for a long time. That deal is changing. Bean prices at the wholesale level have been climbing steadily since mid-2024. A combination of drought conditions in key growing regions, higher transportation costs, and a surge in consumer demand for protein-rich foods has pushed input costs higher for canners. And now, on top of all that, the tariff situation is adding pressure to the steel used for the cans themselves. Steel prices for cans. It's not just the beans anymore. Someone I spoke with who works in grocery distribution told me that the smaller can sizes, the ones that end up at dollar stores, are the first to get cut when suppliers need to prioritize. Big box gets restocked. Dollar stores wait. I went to my local Dollar Tree and Dollar General in the same week. I bought 14 cans of black beans and 12 cans of chickpeas. Total spend was around $32. That felt like a lot in the moment. But right now, those same cans at a regular grocery store are running anywhere from $1.49 to $1.79 each. I already saved close to $12 compared to waiting. Canned beans store beautifully. Unopened, a commercially canned bean product is safe and nutritious for 2 to 5 years when stored in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. I keep mine in a pantry cabinet, stacked in rows, oldest in front, newest in back. This is about more than saving $1. It's about knowing that when a can of beans costs $2.50 at the grocery store this summer, you already have yours. That peace of mind is real. Product number 2, dish soap. Let me tell you about a conversation I had at the dollar store about 3 weeks ago. I was standing in the cleaning aisle. There was a woman next to me who had been a regular shopper at that location for years. She picked up a bottle of dish soap, looked at it, put it back down, and said, "This used to be bigger, didn't it?" And she was right. Dish soap is a textbook shrinkflation product. The bottle looks the same. The label looks the same. The price looks the same. But the fluid ounces have been quietly dropping for 2 years now. What was a 20-ounce bottle became 18, then 16. Some brands are now at 14 ounces for the same shelf price. You're paying more per wash, and you probably haven't noticed because the bottle shape hasn't changed. Here's where it gets serious. Dish soap formulations rely heavily on surfactants, many of which are derived from petrochemicals sourced through global supply chains that have been under pressure. With tariffs affecting chemical imports, manufacturers are looking at either reformulating, reducing sizes further, or raising prices. All 3 options hurt the consumer. A retail data analyst I follow shared figures showing that dish soap SKUs at dollar format stores have seen quiet size reductions of 8 to 12% over the past 18 months. That's almost a full wash per bottle that you're not getting anymore. I bought 8 bottles of dish soap at my dollar store. Spent about $10 even. At the grocery store, comparable bottles in their current reduced sizes are running $1.79 to $2.29 each. I've already saved somewhere between $4 and $8. And I have enough dish soap to last my household through the fall. Dish soap stores indefinitely at room temperature. It doesn't expire in any meaningful way. Keep it under the sink, in a cabinet, or even in a storage closet. Stack it. It takes up almost no space. You do not want to be the person paying $2.50 for a bottle of dish soap this summer when you could have grabbed it for $1.25 today. Product number 3, canned tuna. This one hits hard for a lot of people because canned tuna is one of those items that families have relied on for generations. Quick lunch, cheap protein, always on the shelf. That reliability is being tested right now. Tuna fisheries around the world are under increasing strain. Catch quotas are tightening as conservation efforts expand. Shipping costs for imported seafood have not come back down the way people hoped. And the aluminum that goes into tuna cans has seen price volatility that processors are beginning to pass on. When you combine those 3 pressures, the math stops working for dollar store pricing. I've seen multiple reports from seafood industry trackers noting that smaller, value format cans of tuna, the ones priced for dollar store margins, are among the first product configurations to get squeezed. Suppliers prioritize the larger multi-packs that go to warehouse clubs and big grocery chains first. I loaded up. I bought 20 cans of chunk light tuna over 2 separate trips. The per can cost at the dollar store was about $1.25. At the grocery store right now, the comparable can is sitting at $1.60 to $1.90 depending on the brand. I saved close to $13 on 20 cans. That adds up fast. Canned tuna has a shelf life of 3 to 5 years when stored properly. Keep it somewhere that stays consistently cool and dry. A pantry shelf, a closet, anywhere away from heat sources or humidity. The key is avoiding temperature swings, which can compromise the can seal over time. If tuna is a regular part of how you feed your family, now is the time to build your supply. This is not a forever item, but right now, the price is still right. And right now is the window. Product number 4, multi-purpose cleaning spray. This is one of those items that I think people underestimate. It sounds boring. Cleaning spray. Who gets worked up about cleaning spray? You will when you go to grab it this summer and it's gone. Dollar store multi-purpose sprays have been a remarkable value for years. You're talking about a spray bottle that cleans counters, sinks, stovetops, bathroom surfaces, all for $1 or $1.25. The grocery store equivalent of that product is anywhere from $3 to $5. That gap is closing, and fast. The reason is twofold. First, these sprays are heavily dependent on fragrance and surfactant chemicals, a significant portion of which are sourced or derived from overseas supply chains currently under tariff pressure. Second, the plastic bottles themselves, the trigger mechanisms and spray nozzles, have seen component cost increases tied to resin prices. Put both of those together, and you get a product where dollar store margins are getting squeezed to the breaking point. A logistics contact I have in the household goods space mentioned that several mid-size cleaning product suppliers who exclusively serve value format retailers have either paused production on certain SKUs or are moving toward reduced volume reformulations. That's not a rumor. That's happening. I bought 12 bottles on my last 2 trips. Total cost was right at $15. If I'd bought the same number of comparable sprays at a standard grocery store, I would have spent somewhere between $36 and $45. The savings were real enough that I added them to a spreadsheet I keep for exactly this kind of purchase. Cleaning sprays store well for 2 to 3 years without losing effectiveness. Keep them in a cabinet, off the floor, away from direct sunlight or any heat source. The formulas are stable. The bottles are durable. There's no downside to having a supply on hand. This is one of those things that you don't think about until you reach under the sink and there's nothing there. Product number 5. Laundry detergent pods. Okay, I want to be honest with you about this one. Laundry detergent pods are not disappearing from the store forever. But what's available at the dollar store, the small count packs, the value packs, the budget brands that make pods accessible to people who can't afford a $40 jug, those are in real trouble. Here's why. Detergent pods are one of the most chemically complex consumer products on the shelf. The dissolvable film that holds each pod together is a polymer material. The concentrated detergent inside contains multiple surfactants, enzymes, brighteners, and fragrance compounds. Many of those ingredients are sourced globally, and many of those supply chains have been disrupted or are now subject to import tariffs that didn't exist 2 years ago. The math of making a 10-count pod pack for $1.25 barely worked before. It doesn't work now. Suppliers are either raising minimum order quantities, which dollar stores can't meet, or they're pulling the small format SKUs entirely in favor of the bigger packs that go to regular retailers. I've watched the pod section at 3 different dollar stores in my area over the past 6 weeks. 2 of them have already cut their selection in half. One of them is down to a single brand and a single count. I picked up 10 packs across several stores while I still could. Total spend was around $13. A comparable count of pods at a major grocery chain runs anywhere from $8 to $12 for the same number of washes. I'm already stocked for several months. Store pods in a cool, dry place in their original packaging. Keep them away from moisture at all costs. That dissolvable film begins to degrade if it gets humid. A sealed bin in a closet works perfectly. Shelf life is about 15 months from the production date. Do not let this one slip by you. The small format dollar store pod pack is one of the most endangered items on this list. Product number 6, cooking oil. I saved this one for number 6 because when I looked at the numbers, really looked at them, I had to sit down. Cooking oil, vegetable oil, canola oil. The kind that comes in that small bottle for $1 or $1.25 at the dollar store. This item is facing a convergence of pressures unlike almost anything else in the store. Here's what's happening. Soybean and canola crops have faced back-to-back difficult seasons in major producing regions, particularly in Canada and parts of South America. Global vegetable oil supplies have been tight. At the same time, palm oil, which is a substitute ingredient used in many blended cooking oil formulations, has seen price spikes tied to weather events and export restrictions from producing countries in Southeast Asia. Now, layer on top of that, the tariff situation affecting imports. Cooking oil is precisely the kind of commodity that gets repriced very quickly when trade conditions shift. And here's the part that stunned me when I dug into it. The small bottles at dollar stores, the 12 to 16 ounce sizes, are priced at a margin that almost no longer makes sense for the supplier. I spoke with someone who works in food commodity brokering. They told me point blank that the unit economics of a small cooking oil bottle for dollar store pricing have turned negative in some configurations. That means suppliers are either going to stop selling to dollar store channels, or they are going to reformulate and reduce sizes to the point where the product barely functions as a cooking oil. I went back to the store twice. I bought 14 small bottles of vegetable oil total, spent about $17.50. At a grocery store, comparable cooking oil in its current sizes is running anywhere from $2.50 to $3.50 per bottle depending on the brand. I saved somewhere between $15 and $25 across those 14 bottles. Cooking oil has a shelf life of 1 to 2 years when stored unopened at room temperature, away from heat and light. Once opened, use it within 6 months. Keep extra bottles sealed in a cool pantry. Don't refrigerate. It can cause the oil to cloud or partially solidify, which is harmless but inconvenient. If you cook at home, and I mean if you cook anything at all, cooking oil is not optional. It is a foundational ingredient. And what's sitting on dollar store shelves right now may be some of the last affordable small format bottles you see for a while. Product number 7, aluminum foil and plastic wrap. I know, this one sounds minor. Bear with me. Aluminum foil and plastic wrap at the dollar store have been a budget shopper's secret weapon for years. You grab a roll of foil for $1.25 and it lasts you weeks. You grab a box of plastic wrap and you're covered for the whole month. These are the invisible workhorses of a household kitchen. They are about to get a lot more expensive. And the reason is simple. Aluminum, the same metal used in cans, in electronics, in vehicles. Aluminum prices have been climbing globally. Tariffs on aluminum imports have added cost pressure at every step of the supply chain. For dollar stores, which work on razor-thin margins to begin with, a product like aluminum foil becomes very difficult to sustain at its current price point when the core material keeps getting more expensive. I've also noticed something on the shelf that I want you to pay attention to. The roll lengths are shrinking. A standard dollar store foil roll that used to advertise 25 square feet is now running 18 to 20 in many cases. Same box. Slightly smaller print on the square footage. Classic shrinkflation. A retail buyer who sources for discount stores mentioned to me that aluminum and film-based products, foil, plastic wrap, storage bags, are among the categories getting the most internal pressure from suppliers right now. Expect fewer SKUs and smaller roll counts by Q3. I bought 8 rolls of foil and 6 boxes of plastic wrap. Spent about $17 total. The same quantity purchased at a grocery store would have cost me between $28 and $35 depending on the brand. That's a real savings. Foil and plastic wrap store indefinitely in dry conditions. Keep them in a drawer or a cabinet away from any moisture. The only thing that ruins them in storage is a bent box or a roll that gets damp and starts tearing unevenly. Keep the boxes intact and they'll last you years. This one is easy to overlook. Don't overlook it. Product number 8. Over-the-counter pain relief. I want to close with this one because I think it's the item people will feel most urgently about once they understand what's happening. Store-brand pain relievers, ibuprofen, acetaminophen, aspirin, in small counts have been a dollar store fixture for years. You grab a bottle of 24 ibuprofen for $1.25. It gets you through the week. It's affordable. It's accessible. For a lot of people, it's the only way they can afford to keep pain relief in the house. That window is narrowing. Here's the thing about generic OTC pharmaceuticals. The active pharmaceutical ingredients, the APIs, are manufactured almost entirely overseas. A significant percentage comes from facilities in China and India. Import costs for these ingredients have risen. Quality control requirements have increased. And the regulatory environment around generic drug production has added compliance costs that are quietly flowing downstream to retail pricing. Dollar pharma margin on a 24-count ibuprofen bottle was already the thinnest thing on the shelf. With API costs up and compliance costs up, the small count formats that only make sense for dollar store pricing are the first to go. I talked to a pharmacist friend of mine about this. She's been in retail pharmacy for over 15 years. She told me that in her professional experience, the small count dollar store OTC formats are always the first to disappear or get repriced when input costs rise. She said, "Buy them now while they're still there at that price, because what's coming is higher prices and a bigger bottle that many people can't afford all at once." I bought 10 bottles across 2 visits. Total was about $12.50. That same count of ibuprofen at a pharmacy or grocery store runs anywhere from $5 to $8 per bottle for a comparable tablet count. I saved roughly $30 to $45 across the 10 bottles. OTC pain relievers have expiration dates, but research consistently shows that the active ingredients remain effective for years past the label date when stored properly. Keep them sealed in their original bottles, in a cool, dry place away from humidity. Not in the bathroom cabinet. That environment is too humid. A bedroom closet shelf is ideal. Pain relief is not optional. And when you need it, you need it. This is one of those items where the cost of being caught without it is high. Stock up now while the price still makes sense. Here's what I want you to see when you look at all 8 of these together. This isn't random. There's a pattern here. Everything on this list is a basic household staple. Food, cleaning, cooking, medicine. The things you buy every week without thinking about it. And every single one of them is being hit by the same forces at the same time. Supply chain costs are up. Raw material costs are up. Import costs are up. And dollar stores, which run on margins so thin they're almost theoretical, are the first place those pressures show up as empty shelves or missing SKUs. The big grocery chains have more leverage with suppliers. Warehouse clubs like Costco can absorb some of the volatility because of their volume. Dollar stores don't have those options. When the math stops working for a supplier, dollar stores feel it first. You're not being paranoid by stocking up. You're being smart. You're being the kind of shopper who uses information before it becomes obvious to everyone else. The people who wait until summer to notice these gaps will pay more. They'll have fewer options, and they'll wish they'd moved sooner. You don't have to buy everything this week. Start with the 3 or 4 items on this list that your household uses most. Add a few units to your cart each time you go. Build your supply over the next few weeks. That's it. That's the whole strategy. It's not about fear. It's about being ready. There's a difference. If this video helped you today, please take 1 second and hit that like button. It really does matter for this channel, and it helps other shoppers find this information before it's too late. Subscribe if you haven't already. We cover retail shifts, supply chain trends, and practical stock-up advice on a regular basis. The community here is full of people who think the same way you do. Practical, prepared, and always paying attention. I appreciate you watching the whole thing. That means a lot. Take care of your household, stay ahead of the curve, and I'll see you in the next one.